The alien queen stood before me and said, "You, or your world. Decide." Part 1. First contact the day the sky broke open. What Go-In was drinking cold coffee on the observation deck of Seoul Orbital Station. He had been awake for 18 hours. His eyes were tired. His body wanted sleep, but something kept him standing there, looking out at the stars. He was 32 years old. He had short black hair and a scar on his left cheek from a fire 3 years ago. Before becoming an astronaut, he had been a soldier. He had seen war. He had seen death. He thought he understood how cruel the universe could be. He was wrong. At exactly 3:47 a.m. Korean Standard Time, the darkness of space began to change. Doyen set down his coffee cup. He leaned closer to the window. At first, he thought his tired eyes were playing tricks on him, but then he saw it clearly. The stars were disappearing. No, not disappearing. Something was blocking them. Something huge. A crack of light appeared in the empty space, like someone had cut the universe with a knife. The crack grew wider. Blue and purple energy spilled out from the opening, and then, one by one, they came through. Ships Duhayan counted 17 of them. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. The smallest was the size of a mountain. The largest was as big as a small moon. They were black and silver, covered in strange symbols that glowed with soft light. Alarms began to scream throughout the station. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted through the speakers. But Do-yeon could not move. He just stood there, watching the impossible become real. His radio crackled. "Lieutenant Park. Report to command immediately." Do-yeon finally blinked. He picked up his radio. "On my way," he said. His voice was calm. His hands were shaking. The next 12 hours were chaos. Every government on Earth received the same message at the same time. It came through every radio, every television, every phone, every computer. The message was simple. The voice that spoke it was cold and empty, like wind blowing through dead trees. "Prepare your tribute. We arrive in 3 cycles." Nobody knew what tribute meant. Nobody knew what 3 cycles meant. But everybody understood one thing. Whoever sent this message was not asking. They were telling Do-yeon was called to an emergency meeting in the station's main conference room. When he arrived, he found Admiral Choi Tae-young already there. The admiral was an old man with white hair and sharp eyes. He had commanded Earth's space fleet for 15 years. He had never looked afraid before. Today his face was pale. "Sit down, Lieutenant," the admiral said. Do-yeon sat. "You saved 17 people during the Busan fire," the admiral continued. "You carried them out of a collapsing building while it burned around you. You refused to leave until everyone was safe." "I was just doing my job, sir." "No, you were being human." That. I leaned forward. "That's why you've been selected." "Selected for what?" Before the admiral could answer, the door opened. A woman walked in. She was young, maybe 28, with long black hair, tied back in a practical ponytail. She wore a scientist's uniform with a translation device hanging from her belt. "This is Dr. Kim Yuna," the admiral said. "She's the best xenolinguist on Earth." Yuna gave Do-yeon a small nod. "I study alien languages," she explained. "Although until today I had nothing real to study." "Now you do," Do-yeon said. "And now I do." The admiral stood up. "In 6 hours, we're sending a diplomatic team to meet the aliens. You two will be part of that team. I will lead it personally." Do-yeon felt his stomach drop. "Sir, with respect, we know nothing about them. We don't know what they want. We don't know if they're peaceful. You know one thing," the admiral said quietly. "Their ships could destroy Earth in minutes. If they wanted us dead, we would already be dead. They want something else. Our job is to find out what." The shuttle launched at noon. Do-yeon sat between Yuna and the admiral. Through the small window, he could see the alien flagship growing larger and larger. Up close, it was even more terrifying. The ship seemed to be alive somehow. Its surface moved and shifted like breathing skin. A hole opened in the side of the flagship. Light spilled out. "I think that's our invitation," Yuna whispered. The shuttle flew inside. What Doyon saw would stay in his memory forever. The inside of the ship was like a cathedral made of crystal and light. The walls were transparent, showing the stars outside. Strange plants grew from the floor, glowing with soft blue light, and standing in rows along the walls were the aliens themselves. They were tall, at least 3 meters high. Their bodies were made of something like crystal or glass. Light passed through them and broke into rainbows. They had no faces that Doyon could recognize, just smooth surfaces with glowing spots where eyes might be. The shuttle landed on a platform of solid light. The door opened. Warm air rushed in, carrying a smell like flowers and metal mixed together. "Stay calm," the Admiral said. "Show no fear." They walked out of the shuttle together. Immediately the crystal beings surrounded them. They did not speak. They did not move aggressively. They just watched with those strange glowing eyes. Then the crowd parted. She walked through them. It's like a queen through servants. And she was a queen, Doyon realized. He could feel it. The power coming from her was like standing next to a sun. She was taller than the others, nearly 4 meters. Her crystalline body was darker, like purple glass filled with stars. A crown of floating light circled her head. When she moved, the air itself seemed to bend around her. "Humans," she said. Her voice came from everywhere at once. "I am Empress Sylvain. I have ruled the Vale Empire for 9,000 of your years. I have destroyed civilizations older than your species. I have ended worlds without number." She stopped in front of the human delegation. Her glowing eyes focused on each of them in turn. When her gaze reached Doyon, it stayed there. "Your species has potential," she said slowly. "This interests us. We offer a choice we have never offered before." The Admiral stepped forward. "We come in peace. We wish to understand your intentions. What do you want from Earth?" The Empress did not look at him. She kept staring at Doyon.
"Now what?"
she said. "Who?" The room went silent. Doyon felt cold spread through his body. "I do not understand," the Admiral said. Finally, the Empress looked away from Doyon. She raised one crystalline arm and gestured at the humans. "Take them to their quarters. Let them rest. Tomorrow, we will discuss the terms of Earth's survival." Crystal guards surrounded the humans and began leading them away. But as Doyon walked past the Empress, she spoke again. Her voice was soft now, meant only for him. "I have been watching you, Park Doyon. I have seen what you did in the fire. I have seen what lives inside you." Doyon stopped. He turned to face her. "What do you want?" he asked. The Empress smiled. At least, he thought it was a smile. Her face shifted in a way that might have been amusement. "I want what every ruler wants," she said. "I want the future. And you, little human, are going to give it to me." She walked away before he could respond. That night, Doyon could not sleep. He stood at the window of his quarters, looking out at Earth, floating in the darkness. His home, his people. 8 billion lives, all depending on what happened next. He thought about his sister Giwan, back in Busan. He thought about his parents' graves. He thought about every person he had ever known, ever loved, ever saved. The Empress wanted something from him. Something specific. Something personal. And tomorrow he would find out what it was. Outside the window, Earth turned slowly in the void. Beautiful, fragile. Alone. Not alone anymore, Doyon thought. For better or worse, humanity was no longer alone. He just hoped they would survive the company. The alien queen stood before me and said, "You or your world. Decide." Part 2. The impossible choice morning came, but there was no sun. Inside the alien ship, time had no meaning. The light simply changed from dim blue to bright white, and crystal guards appeared at the door. Doyon had not slept. His eyes were red and tired. His mind kept turning the Empress's words over and over. She wanted him specifically. But why? He was nobody special. Just a soldier. Just a man who refused to let people burn. The guards led him through corridors that seemed to change shape as he walked. Walls became floors. Floors became ceilings. It was like moving through a dream that kept forgetting its own rules. Where are you taking me? Doyan asked. The guards did not answer. They never spoke. Finally, they reached a massive door made of dark crystal. It opened without sound, and Doyan was pushed inside. He was alone in the throne room. The room was vast, bigger than any building on Earth. Floating in the air around him were monuments of light. Each one showed a different world. Some were beautiful, covered in forests and oceans. Others were dead, burnt to ash and rock. Doyan understood immediately. These were the Empress's conquests, her trophies. Do you like my collection? Her voice came from everywhere. Doyan spun around, looking for her. She descended from above, floating down like a dark star falling from heaven. She landed softly in front of him. Up close, she was even more terrifying. He could see things moving inside her crystalline body. Stars, galaxies, entire universes trapped inside her flesh. Each monument represents a civilization, she said, walking past him toward the floating images. Some surrendered peacefully. I let them live as servants. Others resisted. They became lessons. She touched one of the monuments. It showed a green planet covered in cities of gold. The Valorian people, she said. They were proud, strong. They believed their gods would protect them. The image changed. The green planet turned black. The golden cities crumbled to dust. Their gods did not come. Oh, Doyan felt sick. Why are you showing me this? The Empress turned to face him. Her glowing eyes were like two suns burning into his soul. Because I want you to understand what I am, what I can do, and what I am offering you. Out. She moved closer. Her body gave off heat, like standing near a fire. I have ruled for 9,000 years, she continued. I have conquered 10,000 worlds. I have everything a being could want. Everything except one thing. What's that? A future? She waved her hand. New images appeared around them. Veiled children playing and growing. But something was wrong. The images kept flickering. The children kept fading away. My people are dying, the Empress said. Her voice was quiet now, almost sad. We live long, but we produce few offspring. Each generation is smaller than the last. In another 1,000 years, the veil will be extinct. Doyan did not know what to say. He had expected threats and demands. He had not expected this. What does this have to do with me? The Empress smiled that strange smile again. We have studied thousands of species. Most are weak, limited, predictable. But humans are different. Your genetic code is remarkable. You adapt to everything. Heat, cold, radiation, disease. Your bodies change and survive in ways that should be impossible. She reached out one crystalline finger and touched Doyan's chest, right over his heart. But that is not what makes you special. What makes you special is this: your spirit, your will, your absolute refusal to accept defeat. Her touch was warm. Too warm. Doyan stepped back. I have watched you, Park Doyan. 3 years ago, a building in Busan caught fire. Everyone ran out. Everyone except you. You ran in. The ceiling was falling. The floors were collapsing. Any rational being would have fled. She moved closer again. He moved back again. His shoulders hit the wall. But you did not run. You carried 17 people out of that burning building. One by one. The fire ate your flesh. The smoke filled your lungs. And still, you went back. Again and again. Until there was no one left to save. Her face was very close now. He could see his own reflection in her crystalline surface. That is what I want. That fire inside you, that impossible, beautiful, insane determination to never surrender. She stepped back suddenly. Her voice became formal again. I am offering you a choice, Park Doyan. Become my consort. Rule beside me. Let your genetic material and your spirit merge with the Veil bloodline. Give my people a future. And if I refuse, the Empress's eyes flared bright. Then earth burns. She gestured at the floating monuments. A new image appeared. It showed Earth, blue and green and beautiful. 8 billion lives, she said. 8 billion humans who will die screaming if you say no. Every man, every woman, every child, every dream and hope and memory turned to ash. The image changed. Earth caught fire. Oceans boiled away. Mountains melted. Cities became graveyards. This is not a threat, the Empress continued. This is a promise. I have destroyed worlds for less. I will not hesitate to destroy yours. Doyen's legs felt weak. He wanted to fall. He wanted to scream, but he forced himself to stand straight. He forced himself to look into those terrible eyes. You want me to choose between myself and my entire world? Yes, that's not a choice. That's torture. Perhaps. The Empress turned away. But it is the only choice you have. Become mine willingly, or watch everything you love die. She walked toward her throne, a massive chair of dark crystal floating in the center of the room. I will give you one Earth rotation to decide. 24 of your hours. Use them wisely. She sat on her throne and looked down at him. When the time is up, you will return here. You will give me your answer. And then, one way or another, the future will begin. Guards appeared and grabbed Doyen's arms. They began dragging him toward the door. Wait, Doyen shouted. What happens to the others? Admiral Taeyong? Dr. Kim? The Empress tilted her head. If you accept, they will return to Earth as honored guests. If you refuse, they will die with everyone else. The door opened. Doyen was thrown through it. The door closed behind him with the sound of a heart breaking. He lay on the floor for a long time. His mind was empty. His body was numb. The choice was impossible. Accept and betray everything he believed in. Refuse and murder 8 billion people. How could anyone make that choice? He thought about his sister Juan. She was 25 now. She worked at a hospital in Busan. She had just gotten engaged to a kind man named Lee Hun-wo. They were planning a spring wedding. If Doyen refused, there would be no wedding. There would be no spring. There would be nothing. He thought about Dr. Kim Yuna. In the short time he had known her, he had seen her courage. She had walked onto an alien ship without hesitation. She had looked at the Empress without fear. She deserved to live. He thought about Admiral Taeyong. The old man had served Earth his entire life. He had given everything for humanity. He deserved to see his grandchildren grow up. He thought about every person on Earth, every mother holding her baby, every father teaching his son to ride a bicycle, every old couple watching the sunset together, every child dreaming of the future. 8 billion lives against one. The math was simple. One life was worth less than 8 billion. Any rational person would agree, but the Empress was wrong about one thing. She thought she understood humans because she had watched them. She thought she knew their spirit because she had seen their courage. She had not seen everything. Doyen stood up slowly. His legs were still weak, but his mind was clearing. A new thought was forming. A dangerous thought. A human thought. The Empress had given him 24 hours. She expected him to spend that time afraid. She expected him to break. She expected him to come crawling back, ready to surrender. She did not know Park Doyen. He started walking through the corridor, looking for the quarters where Yuna and the Admiral were being held. The guards followed him, but did not stop him. Perhaps they had orders to let him move freely. Perhaps they did not see him as a threat. That was their mistake. He found Yuna first. She was sitting in a small room, studying alien symbols on a tablet. When she saw him, she jumped up. Doyen. What happened? They took you away for hours. He told her everything. The Empress's offer. The impossible choice. The 24-hour deadline. When he finished, Yuna was silent for a long time. So what are you going to do? She finally asked. Doyen looked at her. His eyes were calm now, determined. I'm going to do what humans do, he said. I'm going to find another way. There is no other way. She has absolute power. No one has absolute power. Sat down beside her. You're a xenolinguist. You've been studying their language, their culture. Tell me everything you've learned. Yuna hesitated. Then she nodded. Their empire is old, ancient. But I've noticed something strange in their communications. There are factions within the Veil. Not everyone agrees with the Empress. Can we use that? Maybe I need more time. We have 23 hours. Doyan stood up. Let's make them count. Outside the window, Earth turned slowly in the void, waiting, hoping, trusting that somehow the humans sent to save them would find a way. Doyan intended to prove that. Trust was not misplaced. The Empress wanted an answer. She was going to get one, but it would not be the answer she expected. The alien queen stood before me and said, "You, or your world, decide." Part 3. Humanity's Nature. 16 hours remained. Doyonia Yuna and Admiral Tae-young sat in a small circle in the Admiral's quarters. The room was dark. They spoke in whispers, even though they did not know if the aliens could hear them. "We need information," Doyan said. "We need to understand the Veil, their culture, their weaknesses, their fears." "I've been analyzing their language," Yuna replied. "It's complex, but I found patterns. They value strength above everything else. Power, dominance. Their entire society is built on the idea that the strongest rule. So the Empress is the strongest, the Admiral said. Yes, but here's the interesting part. Yuna leaned forward. In their history, I found records of challenges. Times when others tried to take power from the ruling family. Those challenges were all military. All based on force? They failed? Every single one. The royal bloodline has ruled for over 50,000 years. They've never been defeated in direct combat. Doyan thought about this. So fighting them is useless. Directly, yes. Their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours. Their ships could destroy Earth in minutes. The Admiral stood up and walked to the window. His old face looked tired in the dim light. "Then what options do we have?" "Surrender." "No," Doyan said firmly. "There has to be another way." Soft sound came from the door. They all turned quickly, ready to fight. The door opened. A veil stood there, but this one looked different from the others. Its crystalline body flickered with soft colors instead of harsh light. Its movements were gentle, almost nervous. "Do not be afraid," the veil said. Its voice was quieter than the Empress's, more like music than thunder. "I am Orvain. I am a scholar of the Imperial Court. I come with no weapons and no guards." The Admiral stepped forward protectively. "What do you want?" Orvain moved into the room slowly. The door closed behind it. "I want to help you," Orvain said. "I have studied your species for many years. I find humans fascinating, and I believe what the Empress is doing is wrong." "Wrong how?" Doyan asked. Orvain's body flickered with darker colors. "Sadness, perhaps?" "The Empress has made this offer before, 12 times in my lifetime. 12 other species. 12 other individuals chosen for their strength and spirit." Yuna's eyes widened. "What happened to them?" "They all eventually accepted. They had no choice. Accept or watch their worlds burn. And once they accepted, they became empty. Their spirit died. They lived as servants, not partners. And their genetic material was useless without that spirit. So the Empress failed 12 times, Doyan said slowly. She's desperate now. Yes. Our people are dying faster than ever. If she fails again, there may not be time for another attempt. Orvain moved closer to Doyon. "You are different from the others. I can see it. The fire in you burns brighter. That is why the Empress chose you." "I won't accept," Doyon said. "I can't." "I know. And that is why you interest me." Orvan's body pulsed with new colors. "In all my studies of humans, I have noticed something that no other species possesses. A quality that defies all logic." "What quality?" "You do not surrender, even when you should. Even when surrender is the only rational choice. Your history is filled with moments where your species should have given up, Should have accepted defeat, but you never did. Orvain gestured at the walls. Images appeared, showing scenes from human history. Your people have faced extinction many times. Ice ages, plagues, wars that killed millions. Each time, logic said you would die out. Each time, you survived. Not because you were the strongest or the smartest, but because you refused to accept the end. The images changed. They showed humans helping each other, strangers saving strangers, enemies becoming friends. And this, Orvain continued, this is what truly amazes me. In your darkest moments, you reach out to each other. You share your pain. You share your strength. You become more than individuals. You become something. Collective. Una spoke softly. We call that community, family, love. We have no word for it in our language, Orvain admitted. The Veil are powerful as individuals, but we have forgotten how to be powerful together. Doyan stood up. An idea was forming in his mind. A crazy, impossible human idea. Orvain, you said there are factions in the Veil, others who disagree with the Empress. Many of us believe she has become too harsh, too cruel, but we are afraid to speak. What if you weren't afraid anymore? Orvan's colors flickered rapidly. What do you mean? The Empress chose me because she saw something in humans, but she only saw part of it. She saw our individual strength. She didn't see our collective power. He turned to Una and the Admiral. We have 16 hours. That's enough time to send a message to Earth, not a call for help. Something else. Una understood immediately. You want to show them who we are? Not just show, share, everything. Our history. Our art. Our music. Our stories. Every beautiful and terrible and wonderful thing about humanity. We broadcast it to the entire Veil fleet. The Admiral frowned. Why would that help? Because the Empress rules through fear. She's been in power for 9,000 years because no one believes they can challenge her. But what if we show her people something they've never seen before? What if we show them that there's another way to be strong? Orvan's body was now glowing with bright, excited colors. You want to inspire my people? To make them question. Yes, the Empress thinks humans are valuable because of our genetics. But our real power isn't in our blood. It's in our ideas, our connections, our stubborn, stupid, beautiful refusal to give up on each other. He looked at each person in the room. She gave me a choice, me or my world. But that's not really a choice at all, because I'm not just me. I'm part of something bigger, and my answer won't just be my answer. It will be humanity's answer. Una was already typing on her tablet. I can access the communication systems. The Veil use quantum broadcasting. If I can tap into their network, we can send a message to every ship in the fleet at once. Can you also send to Earth? I think so, but it will take time to set up. Do it. Admiral Tayun stepped forward. His old eyes were bright with something that looked like hope. What will we tell Earth? What message do we send? Doyen thought about his sister, his friends, every person he had ever known. We tell them the truth. We tell them what we're facing. And we ask them one question. If this is the end, how do we want to be remembered? As a species that surrendered, or as a species that stood together until the last moment? He looked out the window at the stars. The Empress wants to know what makes humans special. Let's show her. Let's show the whole universe. For the next 10 hours, they worked without rest. Una hacked into the Veil communication network. It was the most complex system she had ever seen, but she was the best xenolinguist on Earth. Slowly, carefully, she found a way in. Orvain helped, providing codes and passwords. The scholar was risking everything. If the Empress discovered the betrayal, death would be the kindest punishment. The Admiral contacted Earth through a hidden channel. He explained everything. The ultimatum, the deadline, the plan. Earth's response came quickly. Every nation agreed. Every government united. For the first time in human history, the entire planet worked together with one goal. They began to broadcast. Music first, Beethoven, Mozart, traditional songs from every culture, the sound of human voices raised in joy and sorrow and hope, then art, paintings and sculptures and photographs, the beauty that humans had created over thousands of years, then stories, myths and legends and fairy tales, the dreams that had kept humanity going through its darkest nights. And finally, the message had appeared on every screen on Earth, Doyan's face, tired and determined, looking directly at the camera. My name is Park Do-yoon. I am speaking to you from an alien ship that could destroy our world. The Empress of the Veil has given me a choice: surrender myself or watch Earth burn. He paused. His voice was steady. I could accept. I could save you all, but I won't. Because being human means more than just surviving. It means never kneeling to tyrants. It means standing together, even when we're afraid. It means believing that some things are worth more than our own lives. His eyes were bright with tears he would not let fall. I'm not asking you to fight. I'm not asking you to die. I'm asking you to decide. If these are our last hours, how do we want to spend them? I choose to spend them standing tall. I choose to spend them together. He smiled just a little. The Empress wants to know what makes humans special. Let's show her. The message ended. Across Earth, people watched. They cried. They held each other. And then slowly, they began to respond. Messages flooded the channel. Videos of families, songs from children, prayers from the elderly, stories of love and loss and hope. The human race spoke with one voice, and out in the void. Aboard 17 alien ships, the Veil listened. Orvane watched the data flowing through the networks. The crystalline scholar's body glowed with colors never seen before. They're receiving everything, Orvane whispered. Every ship, every soldier, every citizen. Doyen nodded. Good, what happens now? Doyen looked out at the stars. Now we wait. And in 4 hours I give the Empress her answer. He was not afraid anymore. Whatever happened next, humanity would face it together. That was what made them human. That was what the Empress would never understand. Until now, the alien queen stood before me and said, you, or your world. Decide. Part 4. The answer. The 24 hours were almost over. Doyen stood outside the throne room doors. His heart was beating fast, but his hands were steady. Behind him, Eunice squeezed his shoulder. Are you sure about this? She asked. No, he admitted. But I'm doing it anyway. That's what humans do. She laughed softly. It was a good sound. Maybe the last laugh he would ever hear. The doors opened. The throne room was different now. Before, only the Empress had been present. Now, the massive space was filled with Veil. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Their crystalline bodies filled the room with fractured light. They lined the walls. They floated in the air. They watched in silence, and at the center of it all, sitting on her throne of dark crystal, was Empress Sylvain. You came, she said. Her voice echoed through the chamber. I admit, I was not certain you would. I said I would give you an answer, Doyan replied. I keep my promises. He walked forward. Every step felt like a mile. The Veil watched him pass. Their glowing eyes followed his every movement. He felt like a mouse walking through a room full of cats. He stopped at the base of the throne. The Empress looked down at him from above. The time has come, Park Do-yan. You know the choice? You know the consequences. Speak your answer. Do-yan took a deep breath. On Earth, he knew, billions of people were watching through hidden cameras. The same feed that had broadcast humanity's message was now showing this moment to every person alive. Before I answer, he said, I have a question. The Empress tilted her head. Speak. In all those civilizations you've destroyed, all those species you've erased, did any of them ever just say no? Silence filled the room. What do you mean? The Empress asked. I mean exactly what I said. Did any of them refuse your offer without trying to negotiate? Without begging for mercy? Without trying to find a way out? Did anyone ever just say no? The Empress's crystalline body flickered with strange colors. She seemed confused by the question. Refusal is extinction, she said. No rational being chooses extinction. But did anyone? Another long silence. The veil around the room stirred restlessly. The Empress finally admitted. They all bargained. They all pleaded. They all eventually surrendered. Doyan nodded. Then let me be the first. He stood up straight. He looked the Empress directly in her glowing eyes. My answer is no. The room exploded with noise. Vale shouted and cried out. Guards rushed forward, their weapons raised. The Empress raised her hand, and everyone froze. You would condemn 8 billion of your kind? Her voice was ice and fire mixed together. You would murder every human on Earth? No, Doyan said calmly. I would trust every human on Earth. Trust them to what? To die. To stand with me. He turned slowly, looking at all the veil gathered in the room. He knew they had received the broadcasts. He knew they had seen and heard everything humanity had shared over the past hours. You made a mistake, he said loudly. You showed us your fleet. You showed us your power. You showed us exactly what we were facing. And then you gave us 24 hours? He looked back at the Empress. You gave humanity time to decide together, and we did. On every screen in the throne room, a message appeared. The same message that was appearing on every screen on Earth, on every ship in the Veil fleet. We stand together. We kneel to know one. Every nation on Earth voted, Do-Yon continued. Every government agreed. We did not bargain. We did not beg. We chose to stand. All 8 billion of us. Together. The Empress rose from her throne. Her body blazed with angry light. You are fools. You are children playing with fire. I will burn your world to ash. I will erase your species from existence. You will be forgotten. You will be nothing, maybe Doyan said. But we will be nothing together. And that matters more to us than survival alone. The Empress raised her hand. The gesture of destruction? The same gesture that had ended 1,000 worlds? So be it, she said. But her hand did not move. From across the room came a new voice. Orvain stepped forward, breaking through the circle of guards. Wait, the Empress turned her terrible gaze on the scholar. You dare interrupt me? I do. Orvan's body flickered with colors of fear, but also determination. I have served you for 300 years, my Empress. I have watched you destroy civilizations. I have recorded the deaths of billions. And never once did I question. Then why do you question now? Because of them? Orvain gestured at Do-Yon. Because of what they have shown us. Morvale stepped forward. Slowly at first, then faster. They gathered behind Orvain. Dozens. Hundreds. Their bodies glowed with strange colors that Do-Yon did not recognize. For 9,000 years, you have told us that strength is everything, one of them said. That power is the only truth. That those who cannot defend themselves deserve to die? And you believed it, the Empress said coldly. We did. Until today. The veil pointed at the screens, which were still showing images from Earth. Children playing, lovers kissing, old people holding hands, strangers helping strangers. These humans are weak. Their bodies are fragile. Their technology is primitive. By every measure we know, they should kneel. They should beg. They should surrender. The veil's voice grew stronger. But they didn't. They chose to stand together. They chose to face extinction rather than abandon each other. They chose to share their beauty with their enemies rather than hide in fear. The speaker turned to face the Empress directly. When is the last time we did anything like that? When is the last time we created something beautiful just because beauty matters? When is the last time we reached out to another species with love instead of conquest? The Empress's light was flickering now, uncertain. What are you saying? She demanded. Orvain spoke again. We are saying that maybe the humans have something we lost long ago. Something we need more than their genetics. And what is that? Orvain looked at Do-Yon. The human and the alien stood side by side. Connection, Orvain said. Community. the willingness to be part of something larger than ourselves. More veil gathered behind them. The crowd of supporters grew larger every moment. The guards looked uncertain. They did not know who to obey anymore. The Empress descended from her throne. She walked slowly toward Do-Yan. Her body was dim now, the fire inside her fading. "You've done something impossible," she said quietly. "You have turned my own people against me." "I didn't turn anyone," Do-Yan replied. "I just showed them another way." "With what? Music? Stories? Kindness?" She made a sound that might have been a laugh. "These are weapons now. They always were. You just forgot." The Empress stood very close to him. Her glowing eyes searched his face. "I could still destroy you. I could still burn your world. These rebels cannot stop me," Do-Yan agreed. "But you won't. Why not?" "Because you're not evil. You're afraid. Your people are dying, and you've tried everything you know. Conquest, force, domination. None of it worked. And now you see something different. Something that might actually save your species." He reached out his hand. "Not in surrender. Not in threat. In offering, you don't have to conquer us to learn from us. You don't have to force us to share with you. That's what you never understood about humanity. We give our best gifts freely. To friends. To allies. To anyone who asks with kindness." The Empress looked at his hand for a long time. The entire room held its breath. On Earth, billions of people watched in silence. In the Veil Fleet, millions more waited for their ruler's decision. "If I take your hand," the Empress said slowly, "what happens then?" "Then we talk. We learn. We find a way forward together." Do-Yan smiled. "Isn't that what you wanted? A future. I'm offering you one. Not through conquest. Through partnership, you would forgive everything I've done. The threats? The terror? The ultimatum? Humans are good at forgiveness. It's one of our specialties." The Empress made that strange laughing sound again, but this time it was softer, almost warm. "You are the strangest species I have ever encountered," parked Do-Yan. "I know. That's what makes us interesting." She looked at his hand once more, and then, slowly, she reached out and took it. The room erupted in cheers. Veil and humans celebrating together. Screens across Earth showed the moment, the alien queen and the human soldier. Hand in hand, choosing a different path. It was not the end of the story. It was not happily ever after. There would be difficult conversations ahead. There would be challenges and setbacks and moments of doubt. But for now, in this one perfect moment, something miraculous had happened. Humanity had faced extinction and refused to kneel, and in doing so, they had changed the universe forever. Do-Yan looked at the Empress's hand in his. It was warm, alive, full of possibilities. So he said, "What happens now?" The Empress smiled. A real smile, the first she had shown in centuries. "Now," she said, "we begin." The alien queen stood before me and said, "You, or your world. Decide." Part 5. What makes humanity? Dangerous 50 years had passed since the day the sky broke open. Park Do-Yan stood on the observation deck of the first. Contact Memorial in Seoul. His hair was silver now, and lines marked his face like maps of all the years that had passed. But his eyes were still sharp. His spirit still burned. Below him, the memorial gardens stretched out in all directions. Humans in Veil walked together on the winding paths. Children ran and played, their laughter rising into the warm afternoon air. Some children were human, some were Veil, and some, the ones born in the last decade, were something new entirely. You look thoughtful. Sylvain stood beside him, no longer an empress, but simply Sylvain. She had given up her throne 5 years after first contact. The Veil had chosen a new form of government, one where decisions were made together rather than by one ruler. It had been difficult, revolutionary, terrifying for a species that had known only absolute power for thousands of years, but they had done it together. "I was thinking about the beginning," Do-Yan said. "About that day in the throne room. Sylvain moved to stand beside him at the railing. Her crystalline body was softer now, filled with warmer colors. The years of connection with humans had changed her, just as they had changed all the Veil. I think about it too, she admitted. I think about what might have happened if you had said yes. I would have become empty, like the others before me. Yes, and humanity would have survived, but as slaves. Conquered not by force, but by their own surrender. Doya nodded. The Empress understood our strength, but she didn't understand its source. She thought it came from individual will. From personal courage, it doesn't. Not entirely. Our real strength comes from connection. From the knowledge that we're not alone. From the trust we place in each other. He smiled. I only had the courage to say no because I knew that 8 billion people were standing with me. I was never alone in that throne room. Even though I was the only human there, Sylvain was quiet for a moment. I have been meaning to thank you, she finally said. Thank me? For what? For saving my people? Doyen turned to look at her, surprised. I thought I was saving Earth. You saved both. My species was dying, yes, but not from low birth rates. We were dying from loneliness. Her body flickered with sad colors. 9,000 years of conquest. 9,000 years of taking and destroying. We had forgotten how to connect, how to love, how to be part of something larger than ourselves. She gestured at the gardens below. Look at us now. We have friends. We have families. We have purpose beyond survival. For the first time in millennia, my people are truly alive. A group of children ran past them on the observation deck. 2 human girls chasing a young Veil, all 3 of them laughing. Gold Doyon. One of the girls shouted, "Watch this." She did a cartwheel. The Veil child tried to copy her and fell over. Everyone laughed, including the Veil. Doyon waved at them. Very impressive, Sahi. His niece grinned and ran off with her friends. Your family has grown, Sylvain observed. It has. Doyon's voice was warm. My sister Juan has 3 children now. Her husband Hyunwoo teaches Veil children how to play soccer. They're terrible at it, but they love it anyway. And Dr. Kim? The linguist. Yuna became the first human ambassador to the Veil homeworld. She's still there, building bridges between our peoples. She says she'll retire next year, but I don't believe her. She loves her work too much. Admiral Taeyeon. A shadow passed over Doyen's face. He died last year. Peacefully, surrounded by family. He saw humanity reach the stars. He saw his grandchildren play with Veil children. He said he could die happy, and he did. Sylvain bowed her head slightly. He was a wise man. He taught me that true strength isn't about winning. It's about standing for something worth standing for. They stood in comfortable silence for a while, watching the sun move across the sky. Finally, Sylvain spoke again. I've been analyzing the last 50 years, trying to understand what happened, how humans changed the galaxy, and what did you find? Something that makes no logical sense. She turned to face him fully. When you refused my offer, you were betting everything on the kindness of your enemies. You broadcast your music and art to beings who could destroy you. You trusted that we would be moved by beauty, even though we had shown nothing but cruelty. Yes, why? Why did you think that would work? Doyon thought about it. It was a question he had asked himself many times over the years. Because I believe that everyone wants to connect, he said finally. Even the cruelest, most powerful beings in the universe. Deep down, everyone is lonely. Everyone wants to be understood. Everyone wants to be part of something. Couldn't have known that. No, but I had faith. Faith in what? In the universe? In life. In the basic truth that connection is better than isolation, that love is stronger than fear, that kindness can change anything. He smiled. Humans have always believed these things. That's why we tell stories about heroes. That's why we sing songs about love. That's why we refuse to give up, even when everything seems hopeless. Sylvain made a sound that might have been a sigh.
You know what the other species in the galaxy call you now?
The ones who have heard the story of first contact? What? They call you the dangerous ones. Doyen laughed. Dangerous? We're the weakest species in known space. Physically, yes. But that's not why they fear you. Sylvain's body glowed with complex colors. They fear you because you change everything you touch. You don't conquer with weapons. You conquer with kindness. You don't defeat your enemies. You turn them into friends. She gestured at the sky, where ships from 100 worlds hung in peaceful orbit. Look at what you've done in 50 years. The Veil Empire is gone, replaced by the Galactic Alliance. 12 other species have joined since then. All of them former conquerors. All of them changed by contact with humanity. We didn't force anyone. Oh, that's what makes you dangerous. You offered something so attractive that no one could resist. Connection, community, purpose, the chance to be part of something beautiful instead of something terrible. Doyen shook his head. You make it sound like we had a plan. We didn't. We were just being ourselves. I know. That's the most dangerous thing of all. Sylvain laughed softly. You don't even realize how powerful you are. You just keep being kind, and somehow the universe reorganizes itself around you. They watched as more ships arrived in orbit. A delegation from a newly contacted species, coming to meet the humans they had heard so much about. Are you ready for another first contact? Sylvain asked. Doyen straightened his old back. He smiled the same smile he had worn 50 years ago when a young soldier stood before an alien empress and refused to kneel. Always, he said. That's what humans do. They walked together toward the landing platform. The afternoon sun turned the memorial gardens golden. Children laughed. Music played from somewhere in the distance. And high above, the stars shone with promises of more connections yet to come. 50 years ago, an alien queen had stood before Park Doyen and demanded a choice. Himself or his world. He had chosen neither. He had chosen something the queen could never have understood. He had chosen both. Because that was the human answer. That was what made humanity dangerous. That was what made humanity beautiful. Not their strength, or their weapons, or their technology, but their stubborn, impossible, wonderful belief that the universe didn't have to be cruel, that enemies could become friends, that love could change everything. The alien queen had asked for tribute. Humanity had given her something better. They had given her a family. And in the end, that was what saved them all. As Doyen walked toward the new arrivals, Sylvain by his side, he thought about all the years that had passed and all the years yet to come. There would be challenges ahead. There always were. But humanity would face them the same way they always had. Together. Always together. That was the human way. And now was the way of the stars. The end.